Hello everyone, welcome to another lecture of general medicine where I make a boring topic of medicine easy to learn. Please stick by till the end of this video because I'm going to show you a very effective resource which you can use for your preparation in a very easy manner rather than going through the boring bookish language. So do follow along. And the topic which I'm covering today is cor pulmonale. So let's get into the lecture for today. Starting with the first heading for cor pulmonale, which is definition or introduction. So cor pulmonale is basically a right-sided heart failure which is caused due to some underlying lung disease. So pulmonale term comes from the involvement of the lung. So cor is heart and pulmonale is related to lung. Now, due to increase in the pressure within the pulmonary arteries, there is going to be subsequent derangement in the heart. It can be of two types like acute and chronic. Acute is sudden onset and chronic is gradual onset. Sudden involvement can occur in cases of diseases like pulmonary embolism, whereas chronic can occur in diseases like COPD. So any disease which is long and slowly progressing is going to lead to chronic cor pulmonale, whereas something which is severe and acute in nature is going to lead to acute cor pulmonale. So what is the etiology of this disease? Most common and the first and the foremost is COPD. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, wherein pulmonary vessels are getting obstructed, they're going to cause an increased pressure on the heart, leading to cor pulmonale. Pulmonary embolism, any embolus present in the pulmonary vessels is obviously going to derange the circulation to and from the heart. Interstitial lung disease, wherein the interstitium of the lung is infected or inflamed. Cystic fibrosis, wherein cysts and fibrosis is present in the vessels. Primary pulmonary hypertension. And risk factors which promote or increase and aggravate the situation include smoking, polluted air, and dust. So this is how these causes can lead to some defect in the pulmonary system, thereby affecting the cardiovascular system. After we know the etiology and the types, we need to know how this disease progresses. So what is the pathophysiology of cor pulmonale? So any lung disease like pulmonary embolism or COPD is going to lead to pulmonary endothelial injury. This is going to lead to hypoxia, due to which the brain is going to signal the heart and the lungs to function more. Now, due to the vasoconstriction of the pulmonary arteries, there is going to be decreased flow of blood, and this is going to lead to an overload of pressure on the ventricles. This leads to remodeling and the thickening of the walls. This causes persistent pulmonary arterial hypertension and right ventricular hypertrophy, because ideally the blood which had to come from the lungs to the heart is not coming via this vessel. If suppose this vessel is blocked, so the pressure inside this area is going to increase, and this area is going to pump more because it's going to think I am the problem, and that is going to lead to hypertrophy. Both of these combined, the lung and the heart damage, is known as cor pulmonale. So this is how the pathophysiology flows. Once we know the pathophysiology, we need to know how the disease is going to present. What are the clinical features? So the clinical features include dyspnea, because obviously the blood circulation is not fine and chronic lung disease is present. Secondly, there's going to be syncope, because the patient is having less cardiac output, less oxygen flow, and the brain is not going to function fine, so the patient is going to faint. Distended jugular veins, because the pressure in the veins is increasing. Cyanosis, because the blood is not reaching peripheries. Hypoxia, because oxygen is not being carried in as much quantity as it should, and the circulation is deranged. Hepatomegaly, because excess pressure on the heart is also going to compensate all other organs, and compensatory mechanism by others is going to increase their size. So hepatomegaly is basically a compensatory mechanism to correct the damage which is happening. And this is going to be accompanied by ascites, which is fluid accumulation in surrounding areas. Third heart sounds or murmurs, which will be seen because the heart is trying to pump more. So murmurs will be heard. Peripheral edema, because the supply of oxygen is not adequate, and cyanosis or edema because of fluid retention will be present. After we know the clinical features, we need to know how to investigate or come to a confirmatory diagnosis. For that, the first and the foremost test is ECG. So ECG shows us a loud or a peak of P wave, and right axis deviation is present because this is a right-sided heart failure. Chest X-ray shows enlargement of the main central pulmonary arteries and the hilar vessels of the pulmonary system. Echocardiography is done to analyze the heart, and it shows right ventricular hypertrophy, and also left-sided heart failure can be ruled out side by side. Chamber dimensions are usually increased and they are noted and compared to rule out any other disease which can be present. Other than this, we can use spirometry, which is to check for lung disease, which is if obstructive lung disease is present, the spirometry readings will be deranged. Chest CT angiogram is done because pulmonary embolism, if present, is going to display acute effects on the CT. Doppler echo is done wherein some dye is used and pulmonary artery pressures are assessed, because if the pulmonary artery is being blocked and the circulation is not fine, the pressure in these vessels is going to be increased. Lastly, BNP and Pro-BNP levels are used, which are usually increased in the cases of any heart disease. A common investigation which we can also perform on the basis of the clinical examination is the sound which we hear in the lungs. So the sound can either be a wheeze or it can be a crackle. So wheeze is usually seen in cases of COPD, whereas crackle is seen in the cases of interstitial lung disease. So this can also be used to differentiate the cause of the damage to heart. Now, what are the main or the characteristic criteria features which we can use to assess and come to a confirmatory thing that yes, heart failure is present? What are those things? First is right ventricular hypertrophy. Second is increased jugular venous pressure. Third is hepatomegaly. And fourth is ascites. All these things means there is some situation and disease which is affecting both the lungs and the heart. Now, after we know the diagnosis part and the investigation has been done, we move on to treatment and management of the patient. So for that, the first and foremost treatment is the symptomatic relief of the symptoms which are present. Treat the underlying cause, provide long-term oxygen supplementation because adequate breathing is what the patient will thrive for. Then diuretics are given to decrease the overload which is present on the heart. Bronchodilators and steroids can be given for any infection, inflammation which is present, and bronchoconstriction which can be present in the cases of obstructive disease needs to be relieved so that the blood can flow adequately from the lungs to the heart. Anticoagulants are given because if blood stasis is present and blood is flowing less, there is a high tendency that platelets can aggregate onto the endothelial walls, lead to the formation of clots. So anticoagulants are also needed. And lastly, lung or heart and heart plus lung. Either of the cases can be transplanted because if the problem is in lungs and they are beyond any treatment, and same with the heart, then either of the two or maybe both can require transplantation in severe cases. If the treatment is not performed timely or adequately, there are going to be certain complications like arrhythmia, hypoxia, fainting episodes, and finally there is going to be multisystem failure, wherein liver and kidney is also going to be diseased because they are trying to compensate for the lost function of the main vital organs of the body. So that is going to lead to an overload on them, thereby causing their failure also. So how to prevent this disease is smoking cessation, weight control, and treat the sleep apnea. Because if sleep apnea is present, means the patient is not breathing fine when he is sleeping and unconscious. So in those cases, the apnea should not happen so that the circulation is fine when the patient is sleeping. What is the prognosis of the disease? Is poor because two main vital organs are getting involved. It becomes better if the underlying cause is reversible and is not usually obstructive in nature. So this is how you can compile this topic of cor pulmonale and follow it up with some solving of questions which you can access on the app by MediStudy Go, which is available for iOS as well as Android. So the first question is in the form of a flashcard, which is main principle of treatment in cor pulmonale is what? So the main treatment is to treat the underlying cause and the disease and reduce the pulmonary hypertension, because that is how the blood is going to reach adequately into the heart and the overload on the heart is going to decrease. Next, if you solve an MCQ, acute cor pulmonale is most commonly caused by pulmonary embolism, bronchitis, pneumonia, or asthma. As we studied, it is caused by pulmonary embolism. If you access such flashcards and MCQs in the app, they're going to come along with certain answers and explanation wherever necessary. The app I'm talking about is this one by MediStudy Go, which you can use to access to resources like mind maps, notes, videos, flashcards, and MCQs. And in the starting of this video, I mentioned a resource which I'm going to tell you, which is this Mind Maps book for general medicine by MediStudy Go. This book contains everything in pictorial format with also some curious cases, which is going to intrigue your mind and make it function sharply. So you can get onto any e-commerce platform like Amazon, Flipkart, Dentalcart, and the website by MediStudy Go to get this book for yourself. And if you want to read every topic in such manner in under 15-20 minutes, you can just subscribe to the channel by MediStudy Go on YouTube, open a video, side by side you open the book of mind maps and jot down the points of the video in the book, and you're done with the topic. Follow it up with some questions from the app and your topic shall be prepared completely. If you like this video, keep following us for all the videos which are going to come ahead for all the subjects and topics of BDS, and keep watching for more such videos. Thank you.